Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Chit Chat with Char. Today we have Miss Rhonda Hutchison from Residential Mortgage Lender. She's a dynamic person, an awesome friend. She's one of my strategic partners. I love her drive and her passion, and I'm so grateful that we get to spend time with her on today. So, without further ado, please help me welcome Miss Rhonda Hutchison.
Hey, I was loving that music. I was like,
Yeah, it is kind of catchy,
it
right?
is catchy. It is
Yes,
catchy.
yes. How are you?
I am doing great this morning. Look, what a wonderful way to start my morning is to share my time with you this morning. I am excited.
Awesome. Awesome. So we're gonna talk about a few different things.
Okay.
So to start out, I would like you to further introduce yourself. Tell us more about what you're doing with your current company, and just share with us that way, and then we'll kind of work our way through. I have lots that I want to talk to you about today.
Okay, well, good. Listen, I'm excited and scared.
No, don't be scared, girl.
But I'm Rhonda Hutchison. I am a residential mortgage lender, and I'm powered by Paramount Residential Mortgage Group. Listen, I always want to shout out in the leadership of Art Thompson, who is
Hi,
my
Art.
branch manager. I have to always
Yes.
give him support because he supports me in so many ways. But I am a residential mortgage lender, and listen, what I am is I'm the Loan Lioness. I'm known as the Loan Lioness, and what that means is actually I drive with passion and power.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm very passionate about what I do, but also I have the power to back it up. So, and my goal in all ways is to build generational wealth. And that just simply means home wealth through home ownership. And
Mhm.
through my company, and of course me, I can offer any kind of residential mortgage programs. So I'm here, but I'm more excited to just talk to you. But that's me. That's me in a nutshell. I'm Rhonda Hutchison, the Lone Lioness.
Yes, and you speak about your passion and power. Along with the passion and power, you also have a heart of gold.
Thank
And
you,
I think
Lord.
that that is another one of those things that set you apart from some of the others in the industry is that you really do care. And it's one thing to be passionate about something for your own reasons,
Right.
or for your own strength, or, that's going to make you look good, but to be passionate and have that power behind you because you really, truly want to see people win.
Right.
And
Right. I
I
do.
love that about you. So we met a few years ago, and we've done a couple of deals together.
Yes.
And I mean, we've had some hard ones. We've had
Yeah,
some
we had
hard
some
ones.
hard ones. We did.
But I can truly say that even with it being as hard as it was, I know one in particular was extremely difficult. But I felt very confident throughout that whole transaction in knowing that, we were going to get to the finish line. We didn't know when, but we were going to get to the finish
Yeah.
line.
Right.
And your patience with my client throughout that process was just truly amazing. And I think that was probably one of the first ones that we had together.
Hmm.
And just watching you work and watching you just, oh, this is no big deal, even though I knew that behind the scenes we were sweating it out. But you were calm, you were cool, you were collected, and it was just an amazing transaction, even with the difficulties. We had one where we had to get Art involved,
Yes, we did.
and
Yes.
he came to the
He
rescue and
came
he made
through.
some things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made some things happen. So shout out to Art as well for, everything that he's been able to help do.
Do
So tell
exactly.
us a little bit about you before you got into the mortgage industry. So I know you spent some years with FedEx. So tell me a little bit about that journey.
Okay. Yes, I'm gonna start off with a listen. I'm a little, and I don't want to say little because I'm not little anymore, but I'm a country girl from Sumter, South Carolina, which is a really small country town, and I think that's where I get all of my, I want to say my strength My passion, my dedication is my background. Being in a little small country town, I'm not a city slicker, and I think that's where my strength came from. But I've moved to Memphis. I think I was like in the sixth grade. My mama remarried, and I moved to Memphis. And Memphis is really what I call my second home.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up there, got married, and divorced. But I started with FedEx when I was in my, I think like 21. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I spent 30 years at FedEx
Wow.
in finance. I've always been in finance all my life.
Okay.
And I always knew that I'm great with numbers, but I always knew that I wanted to do more. I'm a people person, I know y'all probably can't figure that one out.
No, we
But I'm
know.
a people. I love people, and sitting behind a front desk. I was sitting behind a desk and crunching numbers. I knew I wanted something, and I needed something more. And that's when I became intrigued in the process when I was actually purchasing my third home when I moved here because I transferred from FedEx in Memphis to FedEx here in Plano off of Legacy. And that's
Oh,
when I kind of finish out my years. But I knew I wanted something more. And when I was purchasing my third home and I went through the process, I said, you want to know what? Y'all need me.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you guys need. I learned everything not to do in that process if I would become a loan officer. That's when I became intrigued and I said, I can make a difference. And not can I make, I will make a difference. And
And you
that's when I
have.
started the process of becoming
That's
a loan
awesome. That was going to be my next question is where did the transition come from? What made you decide to transition over into mortgage? But you answered that question just by seeing a need and saying, okay, there's something that I can do to kind of fill this need.
officer. Right.
And that speaks to you and your leadership because that's what leaders do, right? Leaders see
Exactly.
a need and they do what they need to do to take care of or fill that need. And
Right.
so I'm glad that you made that decision because
Well,
I'm
thank you,
glad
love.
that we met. I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to do deals with you and to really spend time with you to get to know you.
And
So, what were you going to
I
say?
was just going to say really quickly is that even when I was in, and I'm not going to tell my age, but when I was several years before I left FedEx, actually retired, was able to retire from FedEx, I knew that I wanted something more. And God spoke to me and He said, if you do the work, I will allow you to retire before you're 55.
Wow.
And yes. And so I could see the change in the atmosphere. I could see the change in when you've been with a company a long time, you can see the change. And especially if you're very focused on your surroundings, you can
Hmm.
see when things start to change. And I
Yes.
knew there was going to be a change. And I started getting prepared a year before I actually left Federal Express because I knew it was going to be a change. And I said, let me jump in this and let me get started. And so I was ready when I decided to retire and they offered us a buyout, a severance package. I was just at my desk waiting for the opportunity because I've already been prepared. So if I tell anybody this, when God speaks to you, be prepared because that's what He's telling you. Listen, not only listen, hear to God, listen to your spirit because when He say
Yes.
move, but He wants you to be prepared. And so
Okay.
when it was time to go, I was much prepared. I'd already been in the industry all over a year, almost all about a year and a half before I actually left Federal Express.
That is amazing. I love what you said about listening to God
Yes.
and being prepared.
Hmm.
And I just like to add in being prepared, being in position,
Being in position. That's
being
even
in
more
the
stronger than being, yeah.
position.
Yes.
Yes.
Be in, get yourself ready.
Hmm. And I
Hmm.
mean, that's awesome. And you were in the position, you were sitting behind that desk waiting for your severance package. So
Yeah.
that, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And that's what God said, do the work, I will bless you. And I did the
Mhm.
work and I just waited for my blessing because I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. And
That's
it,
awesome. Awesome. And I think when we met, I think you were just on the verge of getting ready to transition out of FedEx. But
right.
I mean, 30 years, that's a long time to be with a company. And I
Yeah.
know we're not seeing those kind of numbers these days with companies.
Hmm. Hmm.
The companies don't want it,
Mm-hmm.
And then individuals don't want it. I
Want it.
mean, we are living in an age where we have so many self-employed people that, I mean, and I'm sure you see it on your side all the
Oh
time.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because we were raised, and I don't know about you, is that go get your good job, as they say, and you stay there for until you retire. You get your gold watch or your plaque, and you
Yes.
leave. But now it's a different world, and it's so much more. It's about self development and getting your own instead of being there working with someone else for 30 years. That's not the way it is today as it was back then when our parents were telling us get your good job and stay there and
Yeah.
get your gold watch.
Right. Go to school, get
Yep.
the job. And I mean, that was, what the American dream was, but
Hmm.
that dream doesn't fit for everybody.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Doesn't fit for everybody. So let's talk a little bit about so we're talking about self-employed, we're talking about, small businesses. Let's talk a little bit about like your services and what you could do to help, someone who is self-employed with a mortgage, because that's not always easy, and
No.
not all mortgage companies offer solutions for self-employed.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. And coming through the Loan Lioness and also partner with Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, we have as a self-employed bar, you can have every opportunity as a W-2 employee. You just have to have your ducks in a row when it comes to your taxes. Just making sure you're completing your taxes on time, you're not behind in your taxes, that you're not writing off all of your expenses, because when you're qualifying for a mortgage, it's your gross adjusted income that counts. And I'm just going to say, if you made $100,000 and you're writing off 50,000 in expenses, then your adjusted income is $50,000. So you're not going to be able to qualify for that home that you thought you were based on
Yes.
your actual income. So be very careful about that. But we also have programs. We have brokered out programs that we broker out to different, that we partner with different brokers with a,
Hmm.
with a bank statement, loans, things of that nature. If they may, or loans that may require just a little bit more down payment, but you're
Yes.
still able to qualify with the
Okay.
self-employment. So don't count yourself out. Just be prepared. Just make sure you're not writing those expenses off. Make sure you are filing your taxes, and
Hmm.
that you're making sure that everything is in order when it comes to your income, and making sure you have that documentation. Your P&L is right. Everything is right.
Good, 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 good advice for those that are self-employed, because I know that I've had clients who were self-employed, and like you said, they wrote off everything. And
Hmm.
so when you do that, what that does is it decreases the amount of home that it looks like you can qualify for.
Right, right.
And everything has to be documented.
Hmm.
So thank you for those tidbits. A lot of what we do here on Chit Chat with Char is we talk to small business owners, and a lot of them are self-employed. And that is one thing that is really near and dear to my heart, is making sure that we have solutions for people who are small business owners, who are entrepreneurs, and who really want to do things for themselves, but
Hmm.
just need those opportunities. So I love, love, love the opportunity to spotlight, something that they can get involved in through a company like PRMG.
Right,
So
right.
that's really important. So thank you for sharing that. If they were wanting to get more information from you, share with us what where they could reach you to get
Okay,
more information about your loan products.
okay. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. If you have any questions, I'm always available, and Shar can tell you that. I'm going to answer my phone. I'm going to answer my text. But you can call me or text me at 214-856-3747, 214-856-3747, or you can send me a message. I'm on pretty much all the social media platforms and find me the Loan Lioness, Loan LOAN Lioness.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so let's talk about the Loan Lioness. So tell me, why did you market and brand yourself as the Loan Lioness?
Well, actually, it was thrown in. I was born with it, and like I say, well, actually, I'm a Leo. And I know you
Okay.
guys probably can't figure that one out, but I am a Leo, born in the month of August. I am. When you think about a Leo and the characteristics of a Leo, I am definitely that strong, powerful, but very loyal, very
Mhm.
passionate about life and people. But I'm stubborn as a. Oh, I'm just stubborn. But that gets me to be that actually developed me to who I am as a lone lioness, because that stubbornness, I don't give up. I just
Mhm.
don't give in. And there's any situation that's going to come about, I'm going to do everything. I'm not just going to put it on the shelf. I'm going to figure it out. And if I can't figure it out, guess what that means? It can't be figured out.
That's
So, but
amazing.
I was born under the leadership, of course, of the born of the lion. You may see the lioness in the background,
I
but,
see.
and then of course I was given that name by one of my special friends, Harold. He gave me he used to call me the lioness because of my personality and just how I was as a person. And when I decided to become a mortgage lender, I was trying to think, okay, what I wanted to set myself apart. So how
Mhm.
what I can call myself, and I said, you know what, I'll call myself a lioness. And the hair just really this is something, my hair has been like this years before I decided to become a loan officer. So it's just like it was meant to be
Mhm.
because of my personality, what I stand for, and also just my outward appearance is how I became the lone lioness. And I am the lone lioness. I didn't become it. I was already the lone lioness before I even walked into it.
That's awesome. And it's awesome when you can naturally brand yourself.
Yeah,
It's something that you can brand and make marketable, but it's actually who you are.
it's who I
So it's not
am.
like you're having to convert or conform to become this. You are this. You
But that is,
exude this.
I am naturally the lone lioness. I'm a lioness, and I just stepped into the role of being a loan officer.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so tell me a little bit about some of your other passions. What other things are you involved in? I know that for Women's Council of Realtors, Southwest
Hmm.
Dallas County, you're one of the strategic partners there. Tell
Hmm.
us about some of the other organizations that you're involved in.
Okay, a NAREB, which is National Association of Real Estate Brokers. I'm a board member there, and I'm very involved in that organization. And I really like to call it an organization because it's a family.
It
It's just
is.
making sure that we have affordable housing, making sure that the minorities are able out there in the forefront to be homeowners.
Right.
So that's one of the organizations that I'm in. Also, just the Women Council, and
Hmm.
then also I'm on the Building Wealth Together radio show as well, where we actually build wealth together. It's about five of us that actually come together to talk about the real estate market, from credit to real estate, mortgage lending, and insurance. So
Love
I'm
it.
heavily involved in making sure that we can move forward as a minority into homeownership.
Okay. Now, where does that passion come from as far as like minority home ownership? We know that that is a huge topic of discussion right now.
Hmm.
Why are you so involved, or why are you so passionate about minority home ownership?
I think and when I think about it, it's the foundation of just who I am, who generally cares about. Um, and I don't want to say the less fortunate, because it's not less fortunate. It's the ones that does not have the same opportunities. Let's just say
Okay.
it like that, okay?
Hmm.
I started when I was at FedEx. I was over the diversity council there, where
Okay.
I actually, did programs, talk about things to diversify our company, as far in that, and that's just not African American, Hispanics, any what we call a minority. And
Right.
that was the foundation. And even when, I don't know if you guys remember Gina Six. Do you remember Gina Six? There
Yes.
was it was in Louisiana, where
Hmm.
there was an incident at a school, and it was some trouble with the African American boys. And I actually took my daughters. We got on the bus and went to Gina Six. It was a bus full of us to march.
Hmm.
And so it's in my DNA to make
Hmm.
a difference. And one of the persons that when I come to mind, I think of Mary Kay, because I was a Mary Kay consultant for 8 years, and that's
Hmm.
way back in the day. Is that
Hmm.
she said that one of the things is that you always make sure that every person that you see or you meet, treat them as if they're the only person there and make sure they're important. And
Yeah.
so I want to make sure that we are important when it comes to home ownership, that we're not left in the background and
Yes.
not having those opportunities to become homeowners, because homeowners, what they build generational wealth.
Well,
And if you don't have that foundation of building generational wealth, guess what the future is going to look like? It's going to be kind of dim.
yeah.
And so that's where my passion comes from, is doing everything that I can to make a difference, either big, small, or just my clients that I become in contact with every day. If you can walk away and say, I made a difference, I have done my job. It's not the paycheck, because I've taken less to make sure the deal is done. It is making the difference. And that's what that's my goal, and that's my assignment.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to call it a responsibility.
Yeah.
I think we all have a responsibility, especially when we have the impact. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you have the ability. We
Yeah.
have that
Have a pen. Yeah.
responsibility
Yeah.
to make a difference and speak out about injustices, and then also do something about it. Because it's one thing to speak about something or to march, you know, you actually have to do something. There's
Action.
action
Action. Yes.
behind it. And I think sometimes we miss the mark when it comes to the action part, because we want to get on the lines to march, but that's not all we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is your part to play in taking action, in actually making a difference? And I
Difference.
think that is, you said it perfectly, is, getting out there, getting involved, knowing what the issues are, and from that, knowing what the issues are, taking it to the next step. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is part of it too. It is, I think that we lack understanding about what the true issues are
Mm-hmm.
and what has happened. I think some outsiders can look at it and say, well, you have the same opportunities. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a systemic thing that has happened over a course of time. And we think about generational wealth. There's also generational poverty.
Oh, yes.
There's generational, being uneducated.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's like what we are teaching our families, our children, that's what they're going to teach their children,
It goes
whether
on
it's
and on.
something that we tell them to do or not.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, so I think you're absolutely right in speaking to that. So both of the organizations that you are involved in are really speaking to that,
Mm-hmm.
building generational wealth and then educating.
And
Because I
educating.
know NAREB is really, really on it as far as the education. I know they have lots of programs
Mm-hmm.
that they are rolling out or have rolled out. How much do you know about the D-Free program that's managed through NAREB?
I, I'm not very versed, but I know, of course, I know about it, because
Hmm.
oh gosh, it's an important program, and it's really, it's one of those programs. It's a software that you can actually go in and
Hmm.
budget yourself to save and to purchase, to have a down payment for your home, and
Yeah.
it's free, and it's called debt free.
Yeah.
It's D free. So it's actually that program that you can go into. It's a software. Go in there, put all your bills in there, what your expenses are, your utilities, what your installments or your credit card debt. Set yourself up on a payment plan through the system, and
Yeah.
it gives you an actual deadline to have, whatever goals that you're going to set. It allows you to go through that and come out at the end as a homeowner. And so the very reason for that is home ownership. Make
Yeah.
sure that you're prepared and in line to become a homeowner.
And that's really important. I think that D-Free program is extremely important because coming from renting to home ownership, it's a different mindset.
Oh yeah, most
It's a
definitely.
totally different mindset as far as budgeting, what you need, looking long term, the maintenance of the home. all of those things come into play. And I think that program really speaks to that, and it helps to kind of change that mindset, that now you're going to be a homeowner. So with that comes more responsibility. And
Right,
with more responsibility, that means that you have to budget properly.
properly.
That means that if you have a $5,000 credit limit, you're not trying to get to that limit. You're not trying to spend that limit.
Yeah, and you should.
You know,
Yes,
you have
yes.
access to that. So I think that's really important, because I think specifically in the African American community, and I can speak to this myself because I've seen
me
it,
too.
I've lived it. I think that we spend a lot of time trying to look the part, and
Instead of being the part.
actually being the part.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, that you are the part so that you can qualify for home ownership. So that's really, really awesome. What other things are you involved in? Are you doing any like Habitat for Humanity, any other community service ventures?
Well, I'm always linking arms, and that's my motto: is linking arms together to build generational wealth, or whatever in the community. I'm always linking arms with my counterparts, like just like Chris Ziegler. He has with Allstate Insurance. He has drives. Everything is one coming up November. I think it may be November the 4th, where it's actually a coat drive. Yeah, and I'm always linking arms together. So anytime that I can help, participate, be a support system, or I'm willing to do it 100%. So that's pretty much what I'm out in. I'm out in the community doing my part. And that's just like you spoke of earlier. It's just not saying something, but be about it to make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is, Lyndon is saying linking arms is a great show title. It is.
Linking arms together.
Yeah. It really
that's
is.
That's one of my hashtags. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. You should have put it up there so we could have that on the scroll as well. It's really important. Nothing that we do can be done alone.
Yes.
Zig Ziglar has that quote that says, if you want to go go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you take people. And that's really what it's all about, is, like you said, linking arms with people to make a difference in the communities that we serve. It's extremely important to do that. So I'm excited to hear that. I love your passion about everything that you do. It's just amazing. And I'm glad that we are friends.
Yes. Oh, yes. You dear to my heart. I love you to death. I always say I love you. And I really, really do. You are Jewel. And just glad to be a part of your world, both personal and professionally.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means everything to me. So transitioning a little bit more, I want to talk a little bit about the radio show that you mentioned. I know that you, what is the name of the radio show?
Building Wealth Together, Back to the Basics.
Okay. Building Wealth Together, Back to the Basics. Tell us a little bit about that show, as far as like the show times, how people can follow that show, and things of that nature, because I want to make sure that our listeners can find you there as well.
Okay. Well, we started on Heaven 97 about almost 2 years ago. And then we were on there almost a year. And that's where it comes back to the Building Wealth Together radio, when we initially was on the radio. But they sold the station. Okay. Yeah. And when they sold the station, it became a news kind of station instead of a gospel radio station. And we were on every Saturday, first, second, third, and fourth Saturday each week. But when they sold it, we went onto the social media platform on Facebook.
Okay.
And we were there for a little while, took a little break to restructure, and now we're on YouTube. So it's still Building Wealth Together, and that's Chris Ziegler with Allstate Insurance, Melanie Williamson with White Jacobson Associates, and there's Rosalind Booker with R. Brook Realty, and then myself, Rhonda Hutchison, the Loan Lioness. And so we talk everything real estate, and just not real estate, but what we do is we're building wealth together. We talk about fitness, we talk about wealth building, anything that relates to building wealth. We talk about changes in the industry, in the market. We just have conversations, and pretty much, which is great about your platform as well. We just talk. We just talk, and we're authentic, just like we are here. And
Yes.
so we're very excited. And we're going on over 2 years being together as a Building Wealth Together team. And
That's
you can check us
awesome.
out on YouTube.
Okay.
Now we're once a month, the fourth Tuesday of every month. And you can
Okay.
go to YouTube and just say Building Wealth Together. And we're going to show it come up. And you're going to find me because you're going to see me in my hair. So you'll know it's me.
It's something about a Black woman and her hair,
Yeah,
right?
it is. And we know it's you too with your beautiful hair. We know that's Char. Because when I'm looking at pictures, I can find you. That's
I
Charmaine.
know, I know. But it's so funny that the industry event that we went to this past weekend
Uh-huh,
with Tommy,
uh-huh.
I was showing my husband some of the pictures, and he was like, "Oh, there you are," and I was like tucked in the way back, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you." He was like, "Yeah, we just look for that hair."
Yeah,
So that's funny.
yeah.
That's
But
really
you what? That's
funny.
your signature. That is your
Yeah,
signature, and
yeah.
that's why you can stick out, from the crowd, and that's what you want. So don't change anything because we can find you when we want you.
That's funny. I had one of the agents to say, you can never change your hair, right?
Yeah,
I'm
right,
like,
right.
and I will, because
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
I don't want to do the fro, but it's funny, and it's one of those things we talk about branding,
yeah.
transitioning into talking a little bit about branding and what that means for like a small business. Like you always want to brand yourself, you always want to be set aside and set apart. And branding is important. I mean, it's
No,
been
yeah.
going on for years and years and years and
Even
years.
more important.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember taking a marketing class in college, and they were bringing up the different logos for different companies.
Uh-huh.
And before you even knew what the name of the company was, you already knew who it was just by their logo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a part of branding and a part of setting yourself apart from some of the others in the industry. So
Mm-hmm.
you have your branding, and then when people get to know you, then they get to see the true Loan
Loan
Lioness
Lioness.
or
Yeah.
Char
Yeah.
or whoever it is, or Lyndon, with the
Mm-hmm.
difference. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important too. So
Absolutely.
as far as you building your brand, your marketing brand, did you have people to help you with logos and things of that nature?
Yes, I had someone to help me with my logo when I first started in the industry. I kind of
Mhm.
when I decided I was going to be the Loan Lioness, I had a couple of logos that was thrown out to me. But I'm a person that I wanted the branding to show power, but also to show elegance,
Yeah.
and that's me too. And the logo that I do have it is a lion is standing up, but it has a persona of being elegant with
Mm-hmm.
power. And
Mm-hmm.
so I did have someone to help me with my logo. But pretty much everything else is me. I do
Yeah.
my social media. They say, "Would somebody do your social media?" No, I do my own social media.
You do.
But yeah, I do. So I'm branding. Being the Lone Lion. It's just being the jack of all trades. But I did have help with the logo. But other than that, I'm just being me. That's my brand.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
being me. And thank God, I do give him all the credit that when you can just be you and just like you talked about earlier, is that I just walk into who I am authentically. So
Yeah.
I don't have to try hard because I'm
Yeah.
just being me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you spoke about doing your own social media posts and things like that. So why do you do your own social media posts? What is the versus outsourcing it or hiring somebody to do it for you?
Well, I had, and Charmaine, maybe because I'm a perfectionist.
That I mean, that's just I mean, I just want to hear it because
Yeah,
different, small businesses do different things. So I
yeah,
just wanted to hear from
yeah.
you,
And
like,
and and when I if I have to go back and say change this, change that, change this, I sometimes I just say, you know what, Rhonda, and that can be a downside to
right.
Charmaine, is that and I do, and I'm working on that. Is I'm having a hard time letting go and let people just do what they do, and but I also have the mindset if I have to do it or give suggestions over and over. By the time I spend that time doing that, I could have just done it myself, or spend or just have that time on a Sunday to carve out, maybe an hour just to go ahead and think out in advance what you're going to post or what your thought process. Or sometimes, and I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I'm at my desk. And let me just say, this is more often than not. I'm at my desk and I may have a problem or issue or something I'm explaining to a borrower, and I'll write that down. Okay, I'm going to talk about this week. I'm going to do a post, on gap in employment, or credit scores, or something that became maybe not a challenge, but something we had to work through because it was a guideline that was not, that came after we had started the process, that may help another lender, may help another real estate, or a potential prospective buyer. That okay, you need to know this, and I'll write it down, and then that when Sunday comes, I'll work on it and go ahead and get it ready, and so it's something, instead of having to give someone that information, just do it yourself.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. So for me, I do my own posts as well.
Okay,
And
we're like, yeah,
the
okay.
reason, and it's not so much that I'm a perfectionist. I can be with certain things, but the reason that I do my own social media posts is because most of the time when I post, specifically my daily quotes, um, it's for me.
That's true. That's true too.
Those
Yeah,
quotes
your
are for me,
inspiration.
and
Yeah.
you just get to be a part of it and be witness to it. But really, most of those quotes, I'm talking to myself.
Yes.
I'm trying to encourage myself.
Myself, yes. Or a feeling
Exactly.
that you have in particular. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. And so a lot of my morning quotes are it's something that I'm either experiencing, going through. I witnessed it, I saw it, I feel it. So and I think that is what makes my post a little bit different, because it comes from me. And not that I'm opposed to hiring someone to do social media posting and keeping the social media platforms up to date and up to speed. I'm not, but I just think in some ways I want to show me through the post, and in order to do that, you have to do it.
You have to do it, and that's a great point. That is a great, and Char, you're on point. You're exactly right, especially when it comes to the inspirational posts. Yeah, and you're right. If someone else doing that for you, you're not. Then it's your true self is not coming out, or what you're feeling for that day or that week. So you're right. You're right, Ladybug.
Yeah. But again, I'm not opposed to, hiring somebody to do some of those elements, because social media in itself is a beast.
Oh yeah.
It is a lot of work, but it yields a lot of results, because that's where people go. When people are looking to do any research on you, the first things they're going to do is look at your social media platforms to see how relevant you are. And unfortunately for me, if somebody went to Twitter, they wouldn't get anything. I have a platform on there, but so it's like if you have, and we have to appeal to different people based on the different platforms. So I'm learning that Facebook is more for the older crowd, is what I'm being told by my kids.
Well,
I'm like,
for
what?
me.
And Facebook is where I'm most comfortable. And I don't know if it's more because, we've used that platform for so long, or, if it's just easier. Some of the other platforms, when you don't know what you're doing, it could be a little cumbersome.
Exactly.
And if you're busy to spend time to try to figure that out, to me, I think I would probably just outsource it.
Outsource it, right.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to get comfortable.
Right. And as a small business owner, a leader, you have to delegate. And I think we had a conversation with one of the previous guests where we talked about delegation and understanding that it's okay to delegate. It's okay. It's okay to delegate, and it's okay to put the people that know what the heck they're doing in the proper place.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
that's so important to me. And I know if Art listening, he talks to me about that all the time. And I know that's one of my development points that I really need to focus on, and I'm being in all honesty, is that delegating and putting my hands off of things. Going back to the thing about if I have to ask you to do it, I can just do it myself. But I'm working on that. Because I have to. You're right. You have to put the team, the people in place that you feel that will be able to not really just do the job, but duplicate kind of yourself, because you really got to think about that. And so I'm working on that too.
yeah.
Working on that, and I'm working on being able to delegate just a little bit more, because we had a meeting one time and they were saying about calling and making sure this is done. Just let people do their job. And I said, I know you're talking about me. I said, I know you're talking about me, and everybody just laughed. It's because I just expect a lot out of myself. And then so that means when I expect it out of myself, I also expect it out of you.
Yeah.
And I have to pull back sometimes and say, Rhonda, everybody's not going to do it exactly the way you do it. And
that's okay.
Yeah. And that's okay, but that's hard, especially with a person like me. Like I say, a Leo, that person that's stubborn and want it done a certain kind of way. But this is the thing about it. I never approach anyone with any kind of attitude or you're not doing it right. Sometimes I'll step in and do it myself and say, listen, I got this done. Take it over now. Instead of going back and saying, you handle it from A to Z. And then your expectations is to do this, and let them do it. And instead of jumping in and saying, okay, you're not doing it fast enough.
Right. Well, one of the things that I've had to learn with delegation is when I jump in and do it my way, which may not always be the right way, I'm taking the opportunity away from the person that I've delegated to.
Yes,
for them to learn,
yes,
to be great within their own right, and to even make mistakes.
yes.
Because the mistakes are that's where the greatness comes.
Yeah, and that's where the growth comes from.
Exactly. So that's what's helped me to like truly delegate, is to say, okay, you know what? I'm being of service. I'm contributing to this person's growth.
Thank you for letting me look at that. Thank you for that. I needed that. I needed that. But really, that is an awesome way to look at it. I'm hindering someone else's growth.
Yeah.
By stepping in and taking over because of my, and I don't want to say selfishness, because I'm not being selfish. That's not it. It's just I'm looking for expectations that I need to sit back and let someone else, have their turn to shine. So you're right. Thank you for that, Char.
Oh, you're welcome. You are so welcome. And I mean, it's just growth. I mean, I had to learn that with my kids. Having 3 boys, raising them as a single mom, I know probably 70% of the time, if I asked them to do something and they didn't do it the way that I wanted them to do it, I would just do it myself. And then we're on to the next thing. But then what that does is that hinders them from doing it and even knowing how to do it.
How to do it, right. Exactly. Right.
Even knowing how to do it. I thought about, there was this video that went viral a couple of years ago on Facebook. And the video was really just making fun of a young African-American man who was basically standing on the side watching his girlfriend, what we think was his girlfriend, or another female, change a tire.
I think I remember that. I think I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was a big deal. They were just blasting this young man about how, he was standing on the side watching her change this tire. And that kind of hit home to me, because I thought about, as a single mom, my boys never had the opportunity to change a tire because I always went to the dealership.
Yeah.
I never even thought that, you know what, you should know how to change a tire.
One day you're going to need to know, right?
It never even crossed my mind. But when I saw that video, it kind of shocked me a little bit because it's like, you know what, that could have very well been one of my sons.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
know how
true.
to change a tire,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah. Well,
but that's out of
I don't have to.
necessity, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yes. Yeah. And
So
then and then that's also perception too, because it could have been the point where he was teaching her how to change the tire.
perception is
Key. Yes.
everything. It's
Yes.
everything. That's a great point. I didn't even look at it from that perspective. I just looked at it from the perspective that that could have been my son in that video, either one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Because, I don't even know if they know how to change a tire to this day.
Well, I
But
don't. I don't.
it's like, oh my goodness, that's a pretty deep thing to really think about, is that, I never gave them that opportunity.
Opportunity. Right.
I
Right.
didn't.
Exactly. So, but I really, honestly, I really appreciate you giving me a different outlook on that. I'm taking away I don't want to say greatness, but yes, I'm taking away opportunity for them to be too great, to learn, to
Right.
develop, because
Right.
I'm my expectations, and I don't want to say it's too high, because I don't think anybody's expectations should be too high. Just hold them accountable, and you move on and do what you need to do.
Right. And it's freeing. It's
Mm-hmm.
really kind of freeing. And even knowing that, just if it comes back and it's not right, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
world is not going to end. But again, it's an opportunity to say, okay, you know what? Can we change this, or it needs to look like this, or whatever it is. But delegation as a small business owner, as a leader, is everything.
Everything
Everything. And so, like, for this podcast alone, had I not delegated this off, it
mm-hmm.
never would have gotten done.
Done.
It never would have
Would
gotten
have
done.
gotten done. Right.
When Lyndon reached out to me, it was like, you know what, I already have, all this stuff together. But had I not said, okay, I'm ready to take the next step, and had it
Mm-hmm.
not been for him, like, nudging me every couple of
Say,
days,
come on,
like,
Charmaine.
Char, what are you doing?
Yes.
What's the delay here? But once I finally released it and let him work his magic and do what he does best, it's amazing. I mean, I feel this is one less thing that I have to think about or worry about, because I know he has it covered, and he
Mm-hmm.
has the experience and the expertise to make sure that it comes across, the way that we want it to be
Want to come.
delivered. So let's talk a little bit about your family. So I know I've met Sierra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's
So
see.
let's talk a little bit about you have two daughters,
I
right?
have two daughters,
Right.
Whitney and Sierra.
Okay.
Whitney
I
is
have
my
not met
oldest.
Whitney.
Yeah, you haven't met Whitney.
Hmm.
Whitney is the oldest, and she's the one that has my grandchildren.
Yes.
She's a nurse, and she just transitioned from St. Jude to now she's a hospice nurse. So,
Wow.
yeah, she made that change, and I'm excited for her. And I was to say, how, hospice. When you think about hospice, you're thinking about the end, but it's something that she wanted to do. But she's my oldest.
Hmm.
Uh, and I don't even ask me. But yeah, I think Whitney's in her 30s, 30,
Okay.
early 30s. So, and then Sierra's my baby girl, and that's my clone. And I'm gonna try and get her into the business to being my front person. So,
Okay. Like business
but yeah,
development.
so pray for me because she's my clone, and I do. I have two daughters, and all of them are in Memphis, as well as my mom and my sister. Only have one sibling, and that's my sister Veronica. And we're very, very, very close, very, very close. And let me just tell you, when we were growing up, we fought all the time, and because she tried to boss me to tell me what to do, and that didn't go over really well,
Right. Right. Not
So
with the
yeah,
Lone Lioness.
no, that
No
was even
way.
back then. No, that didn't go out. And also, I didn't have my own identity. I was always Veronica's sister. And you know how that is being the youngest. You didn't have your own identity, and then she tried to boss you. But
Right.
no, we're super close. It's like we're two peas in a pod, and she is my best friend. So, and then of course my mom is Bertha. She's in Memphis. She still works. Mama just turned 75, and
Wow.
she still works. And she says she may retire, she may not. She just enjoy having some, being able to have
To do
something to do.
something.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and so that's where my family, and like I said, uh, here in Texas, I'm not like solo because I have a very good friend. that is Harold, and that's my friend and my person that keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he holds me accountable. He said, Rhonda, you ain't doing nothing. You need to do this A, B, C. And I be mad at him. I said, like, what you need to know on my toes. So that's my family. I have a small family. I'm originally from South Carolina, Sumter, South Carolina. That's where my bigger family is. My mom side of the family, cousins, and then of course my dad's side, because my mom and dad both met in high school, or high school sweethearts. So that's where the largest part. Then I transitioned to Memphis, and that's my smaller inner circle. And then of course my family here is my real estate family.
Awesome. Awesome. So, if there was anybody listening today that you wanted to encourage or impact, or just say anything that words of encouragement, inspiration, whatever is on your heart, what would you say?
What comes to mind right now is to be your authentic self in whatever you do. I've learned early in life that you can't please everybody. You can't do everything to please everybody. But long as you stay true to yourself, your values, your integrity, and your purpose, that you'll be just fine, because God up above will take care of you, because you're walking in what he created you to be. And as long as you're doing that, you're fine. So just be your authentic self.
I love that. I got chills too as you were saying that. That is so important. Lyndon and I talk about that all the time. Just being your authentic self, and just really, when you are authentic and true to yourself, Lyndon tells me this all the time, that when you are, you attract the people that will love you and that will
Mm-hmm.
support you. And in his words, you attract your tribe
Mm-hmm.
when you're your true and authentic self. I think
That's
those
true.
were very, very awesome and encouraging words, and I think it's right on time,
Mm-hmm.
for what needs to be heard and said, in this time today, because we live in a world where there's so many options. There's so much that's being thrown at us with, the media, social media, everything. I mean, it's just a lot. And it's easy for someone who doesn't know themselves to try to be something or somebody else, and
Right.
it just not work for
It
them.
just doesn't work. Sure, it
Hmm.
doesn't work, because you
Right.
have an opinion. Everybody thinks that you should be A, somebody else thinking you should be D, and
Yeah.
then somebody else giving your opinion that you should be Z. But no,
Exactly.
be you. You know,
Be
just be
you.
you. Yes.
I love that. I love that. No truer word spoken. And I appreciate you again for spending some time with me this morning. I want you to share your contact information again, so that any of our listeners who are chiming in, who didn't hear it earlier in the show, want to make sure that they get your contact information, know where they can reach you.
Okay. You can reach me at rhutchison at prmg.net if you want to email, or you can give me a call or send me a text, and that's 214-856-3747. I repeat that. It's 214-856-3747. You can reach me for all your residential mortgage needs. And even if you just have a question, how do I get started? How do I get prepared? What kind of options do I have as a self-employed borrower or W-2 borrower? If I haven't worked in, 6 months, how do I move forward to purchase my home? How do I save for down payment? What do you look for in a credit as a mortgage lender? So just
Mhm.
don't hesitate to reach out to me. Even if you're not ready today, I'm here to answer all your questions.
I love that, Rhonda. Thank you so much for joining me today. I don't want to even bring up anything else because I'm afraid we would go over. That's why I'm just like trying to keep it contained here, because I know when we get together, girl, we can talk
Yes,
forever.
yes.
But I have truly enjoyed my time with you
Me
today.
too. Me too.
Looking forward to having you back on the show in
Thank
the
you, love.
future. We can talk about, the industry stuff, but I really just wanted to just spend some time
Oh,
just
thank
chatting with
you.
you on today. And I just feel blessed and honored that we're friends. I am so glad that I know you.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
glad that you are what Lyndon would say, a part of my tribe. And I know that I can count on you for, just about anything. And I appreciate our friendship.
Thank you. That just really blesses me. But it is.
Oh,
But I love you.
I love you too, girl.
Okay.
Thank you so much. This has been Chit Chat with Char, where our mission is to connect, collaborate, and cultivate. We want to cultivate meaningful relationships with the people that we are working with in our communities. We want to protect and serve our communities, our small businesses. This is our passion here with Chit Chat with Char and with the difference. That is what we focus on, is making sure that we can make a difference in the people that we love and serve. So thank you so much for tuning in on today. You can reach me on most social media platforms, hashtag chit chat with Char. You can find us on YouTube as well as on The Difference through YouTube as well. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.